By definition, microfinance, which is also known as microcredit, is the provision of small loans, usually referred to as microloans, to poor and low-income people who would otherwise be shut out of being able to access financial services. These microloans are extended to poor and low-income people with the objectives that 1. Poor and low-income people would use the loan to establish or expand micro-enterprises and other self-employment ventures, and 2. With the objective that profit-making microcredit institutions will be able to make money from interest rates and apply these to the loans. But before we go on and talk about microfinances, I would encourage you to subscribe, as I post content daily that you do not want to miss out. So let's get started. Since the 1990s, microfinance has had a strong appeal because its aforementioned core objectives promise those with financial capital a kind of win-win situation when it comes to addressing poverty. It promises that when poor people are given microloans to establish their micro-enterprises, they can lift themselves up out of poverty without any cost to the rich or those with financial capital. Rather than address poverty through systemic changes such as implementing progressive taxes, which would involve taxing rich people more to reduce global poverty, microfinance transfers the task of reducing poverty to poor people themselves. In fact, rich people or those with financial capital transfer the task of poverty reduction while making money from it. Here's a general picture of how microfinance often works. Microcredit institutions established in countries with high levels of poverty are set up to give small loans to poor, usually unemployed or low-income people, with the assumption that poor people will use the loans to expand their micro-businesses and lift their families out of poverty. These microloans are given with interest rates that often range between 20 to 30%. That goes back to the microcredit institutions when those lent money are paid back. When microfinance was taking off in the 1990s, people who were in favor of it as a means of reducing poverty claimed that microfinance would result to 1. The establishment of informal businesses that would provide poor individuals with a source of income. 2. The empowerment of impoverished individuals, especially poor women, who would have access to financial services that would otherwise not have been available to them. And 3. State governments and financial institutions being able to address problems of global poverty while making revenue from it. Studies show that the net effect that microfinance has had is fulfilling its profit-making promise to state and financial institutions, while grossly failing to deliver on its promises to poor and low-income individuals it targets. Since the wide implementation of microfinance programs, only lenders have been able to consistently benefit from them from the exorbitant interest rates they apply to microloans. Poor and low-income individuals, on the other hand, have been put in cycles of debt, been driven to suicide due to not being